Welcome everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. I see iPhone and 61414. Great to have you. Mary Lou, Ethel, my team are here as well. Vincent is in the waiting room. We're just going to let Vincent in as well. And it's so great to have so many of you here. And I am so excited to share today's presentation with you. So let me just open this up again. I just need to share with you first. And there's one more thing that I need to do because I'm just going to make my team co-hosts as well. They will be very proud of me for remembering that. Let me see. Need to make sure that I get the right people because the screen just changed. And then we'll be getting into the presentation, which is going to be a really amazing today. So today we're going to be talking about some mistakes that people can make in Forex and how to avoid some of those mistakes. So that will be really good. We'll do a very quick roundup of what we spoke about yesterday. And we will quickly see if everybody would like to introduce themselves. We'll start with the team in order to be able to do a quick introduction so that you have a bit of an idea of who is here and gives everybody a chance that is running a little bit late, not too much, because we definitely want to make sure that we take your time very seriously, but it gives a few people a chance to log on in the first 5 minutes. So Mary Lou, Ethel, would you like to introduce yourselves again for everybody that is new? I think Joseph was here yesterday. iPhone might have been here. Vincent and 61414, I think it was, might be new as well. So we might start with the team and then everybody else, if you'd like to introduce yourself. I'd like to encourage everybody to introduce yourself, but if you'd like to introduce yourself, you can. I know that my team's not shy, but hopefully they are paying attention so that they know that we are doing the introductions.
Hello everyone. Hello guys, this is Marilo Menos team, his VA. So yeah, I am very excited for this event tonight. And I hope that you all enjoy the rest of the night. Thanks everyone.
And thank you, Mary Lou, as well. So thank you for your introduction. And Ethel, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, hi there. My name is Ethel. So I'm from Menos team. Nice to meet all of you here. And I know that we will learn a lot of things tonight. It's going to be a great, there will be lots of insights tonight. So I'm also excited.
I can imagine you are. And I know that Mary Lou and Ethel have seen the presentation a few times, but they're still always excited by it. So that's always really good. And who else would like to introduce themselves?
Hello. I'm
Vincent
from Philippines. Good.
Nice to meet you.
Hello,
it's wonderful. Hello, Vincent. It's nice to meet you. Thank you so much for joining tonight. What would you like to get out of tonight? What's the biggest thing you'd like to learn?
Basically, Forex trading.
Yes? Yeah. Okay, perfect. So great to have you. Thank you so much for introducing yourself. And anybody else would like to introduce themselves before we get started? Because we are almost at the 5 minutes.
Yeah, hi, my name's Giovanni from Brisbane. Just curious what this is all about.
Nice to meet you, Giovanni. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. And I see a couple of people are still connecting. Anybody else like to introduce themselves before we get started and into the presentation? Oh, I think Rashid was just about to, but didn't end up introducing himself. You muted yourself. That's okay. I'd love to see your faces a little bit more, but that's all good. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. And unless anybody else is going to introduce themselves, let me get started with the presentation for you, because that's obviously what you have all come for. So let's get the party started. So we'll turn the music down now. Even though I like having the music, it makes me feel very, very pumped up. But hopefully I can do that with my voice and just excite you all. Anyhow, am I sharing the screen? Because it doesn't look like I am. I pressed lots of buttons to make sure that everything was happening. The only thing that I didn't end up doing yet was sharing the screen. Oh, yes. So I think my team is looking after that one for us to make sure that everybody is muted. That's all good. And then I think you should also be able to let people in as co-hosts. So then I will hand that over to you as well, because we have figured out how to make them co-hosts. So that is really good. But let's get into the most important part, which is the actual presentation itself. Move this across. Your faces are over the top of my volume button. There we go. Okay, and then just move that back down. So welcome to day 2 of how to trade Forex without risking your own capital. Stop losing money in Forex. Avoid the biggest mistakes people make. And that is what we're going to be talking about today, avoiding the biggest mistakes that people make. So let's get into it for tonight.
Menno,
Yes.
maybe we can also live stream on.
So we should already be live streaming on Facebook, but I don't think we can do both at the same time. But I appreciate the reminder. But yes, I actually behaved myself and already put us on the Facebook live stream immediately. So what I will do is also welcome everybody that's watching on Facebook. So some of you will be watching on Facebook Live, so welcome to you as well. And if you would like to join, you can leave a comment in the Facebook and my VAs can send you the link so that you can join us live in the actual Zoom call, which will also be really, really good. So in recap, day 1, we had a quick overview of what Forex is, why Forex can be such an amazing strategy. And today, day 2 is stop losing money in Forex, avoid the biggest mistakes that people make. So let's get into that and get started. And I mentioned it yesterday, and I'm going to keep mentioning it throughout the week because this to me is one of the most important things. I spoke quickly yesterday about the fact that I started with a business. I started with a couple of other things, stocks, options, and I was always looking for something that was going to be just that little bit faster, a little bit safer, perhaps, if I could, and was going to get me slightly better returns. So do you have the need? Do you have the need for financial speed? And here is why. If I was to start with $10,000, and I suppose that is, let's just call it $10,000. Everybody has a different amount. But if I was to invest that $10,000 for 20 years with a tiny little return of only 2%, then my final capital would be $14,859. Or pesos or krona or whichever currency that you use. Now, that is wonderful if you have 20 years worth of time, but if you don't, and you still have the ability, and you still want to be able to earn a return on your money, then you are going to need to speed things up a little bit. And the way in which we need to do that is by increasing the return. So if we have a look at this chart, we have $10,000, this time in only 5 years with a return of 9%. We are making 15,386. So you can see that we're actually making more in 5 years' time than in 20 years' time. Now, at the moment, the banks are not paying very much interest. So it's probably a little bit closer to the 2% than it is the 9%. And so this is on an annual basis. And it's really interesting that some people will be happy with taking the slower road. And we've been told many times that we need to be in the market for a longer time. Now, some people don't have the luxury of having a longer time. And some people are just a little bit more ambitious and want to reach their goals a little bit faster. They might want to be driving in a Ferrari or living in a more beautiful home when they are 35, as opposed to when they are 75 or 65 or whatever the case may be. So this is a theme running through everything that we are going to be talking about throughout the 5-day challenge. The need for financial speed in order to be able to shorten the amount of time and to get a higher return of the capital that you are investing. Okay, so in order to do this, we need to now start figuring out, if we are going to choose Forex, what is the market doing? Why is it happening? And how can I understand what is going on? So I'm going to quickly ask you in the chat, if you like, to type in and let us know if you have done any Forex trading in the past, what kind of experiences you've had, whether they've been positive or negative. So I'd like to see in the chat if you have had any experience and what your perceptions have been. No need to go into great detail, just whether it was good, bad, neutral maybe. I would love to get a bit of an idea from the audience, what kind of experience and what kinds of things you've already done. So Rashed's had 2 years negative experience, no experience, says Vincent. And Mary Lou doesn't have any experience. That's not really true, Mary Lou, I'd say. She's been doing some testing for me on some of the strategies that I've been working on. So I would say definitely you have. I have no experience, says Joseph. And I forgot your name, but 61414, you mentioned your name earlier. Yes, I'm experienced with average results. And Mary Lou is laughing at my comment. Okay, so some of you have no experience, some of you have a little bit of experience, some a little bit more with maybe some average results. And I see that there are a couple more comments that have come in. So we'll quick. Giovanni, yes, I should have remembered that. My apologies. And capital goes up, then goes away. Yes, that is something that a few people have issues with in Forex, Gary. So completely understand that one. So we're going to keep it relatively basic for everybody that has no experience at all. So what is actually happening? So I'm going to quickly take you across to Trading View. So you should be able to still see my screen. And what we will do is we're going to go across to my favorite, which is, and this should be opening relatively quickly. So it might be the bandwidth of the fact that we're also doing the Zoom. Usually my internet opens a little bit quicker than that, but here we go. Okay, so we're going to open one of my favorite charts, which is gold XAU USD. And for those of you who are completely new, I don't want to overwhelm you too much, but you will see that we have a chart here of the gold price. And sometimes it is green, which means that it's gone up. Sometimes it is red, which means that it's gone down. And you'll notice that on this last candle that I am pointing at right now, it is unfortunately not moving that much, but usually it moves up and down slightly. And there we go, it just jumped up a little bit, and it will jump down and up and do different things, just jump down a little bit again. And the reason it does this relates to what we were talking about yesterday. So yesterday we did a little exercise where we rolled the dice and I got you to predict an up or down. And when more people are predicting that they think it will go up, if the majority of people think that it's going to go up, they are buying, whereby the price is going to increase. So it is supply and demand, but on a very, very large scale. And if more people think that it's going to go down, then it will start to go down and the price will decrease, because more and more people are selling, whereby the actual commodity is going to get a little bit cheaper. So you'll notice that it was red before, it's just gone green. So it's just gone a little bit higher than when that candle started. But I don't want to make it too complicated. All you really need to know for now is that when more people are buying on the market, then the price will be going up. When more people are selling, then the price is going to go down, similar to what we were doing in our exercise from yesterday. So let's go back to our presentation. So now we need to figure out, because yesterday we were rolling the dice to figure out whether it was going up or down, and that is a very poor way. And some people were talking yesterday about the fact that they have lost money for this reason, because they weren't really sure what they were doing. They were just taking guesses and hoping that it would go in the direction that they wanted it to, or they didn't really have a very strong methodology and they were doing some very basic things. And again, they weren't really getting the greatest results. So how do we increase the chances of us being able to know which direction the market might head in? So there are three methods for this. The first method is called news. So if we are talking about the fact that when more people are buying, the stock price, or the Forex price in this case, is going to be going up. I was talking to people today about stocks. I need to be focused back in on Forex and not on the mastermind that I was in earlier today. So when more people are buying, then the price is going to go up. And when more people are selling, then the price is going to go down. So one way in which we can do that is through the news. So this is a great website for being able to see a couple of things regarding the news. And it will have some news with regards to what certain government agencies are doing, different kinds of reports that are coming out. And when, let's say, for example, Australia decides that it's either going to increase or decrease interest rates, that means that at that period in time, more people are potentially likely to make the same kind of decision. So if people think that interest rates increasing are going to be better for the economy, then more people will more likely be buying. And if people think that it's a bad decision, then more people are more likely to be selling, whereby you can estimate, not in the long term, but in the short term, which direction the market might be heading in. So here you can see that there are different reports and different news types that are coming out with regards to CPI, so inflation numbers, or there might be somebody influential who is speaking. So the ECB president, the European Central Bank president might be speaking, or somebody from the American governor of the board might be speaking. And there are many, many others, as well as other kinds of news that might be coming in as well. So for example, if China's GDP forecast is set to increase, then obviously the Chinese currency is more likely to go up than down. So that is one methodology whereby you are able to more accurately potentially predict which way everything is going to go. The second methodology that we're going to be talking about today is going to be candlesticks. So you saw on the chart earlier that there were some green lines and red lines, and they may not mean that much to some of you just yet. However, having said that, we're going to do a very, very short, quick overview. So when the candlestick is green, it means that there is an opening price where you can see my arrow, hopefully at the moment. And then at some point, it has gone a little bit higher and potentially a little bit lower when you have this line at the bottom. And then it will reach its highest point, and then the closing price will be just here at the top. And the red one is the opposite. So the opening price is at the top. At some point, it's been a little bit higher and a little bit lower until it reaches its lowest point, and then it will close where the body of that candle finishes up. Now, some people believe that there are patterns to these. And so this is a second methodology that you can use. So here are some of what they call the bearish candlestick patterns. So that means that we think that the market might turn around and go down. So there are things such as hanging man, or the bearish engulfing, or the bearish piercing line, etc., etc. You can see that there are quite a few here. Now, obviously, I don't want you to take all of this at face value just yet. So obviously, a very big disclaimer, you need to learn a lot more about this than just what we are talking about up until this point. But we are going to be going way beyond this and making it a lot easier so that you don't have to learn 100 different candlestick patterns in order to be able to use those to trade. We're going to talking about over the next 5 days, the simplest and easiest methods to use other people's money and a lot less time to be able to trade. So there are the bearish candlestick patterns, and there are also the bullish ones that mean that the market might start going up and turning around from the downward trend to the upward trend. So again, there would be hundreds of these for you to learn from, and that is not really the direction that we want to go. We want to make it easier rather than more challenging. So these are just methodologies for being able to do this, and you can start learning about this. And if you want to become successful doing everything manually, then this is what you would need to be studying. But that is not necessarily what we're going to be talking about for the next 3 days after today. And then there are other methodologies, and this is where I always get most excited, because when you are doing what everybody does, you are more likely to get similar results to everybody else. When you start challenging the status quo and you're looking for your own methodologies, your own ways, rather than just learning from somebody, you are able to start creating, and you can start spotting your own patterns. But in order to do that, you need to first start off by learning the basics and understanding how everything fits together in the first place. So you're already way ahead of a lot of people who just look at charts and don't really understand the dynamics and the psychology of more people buying means it goes up, more people selling means it goes down, which means that it's related to the news and other things. A lot of people that trade Forex have no idea about that. So that is already going to get you ahead, probably, I would say, of 90% of the traders out there. Okay, so I've already showed you TradingView. I think next time we don't need to have that one in the slideshow. Now, I want to have a talk to you about the crystal ball of seeing the future a little bit, and how you can start to create an even better outcome than just looking at the news solely by itself, or by only looking at the candlesticks. So the direction that we want to start taking is going to be avoiding the following two mistakes. Mistake number one is believing that you have to do everything by yourself. So if you're taking notes, this is one that I would highly recommend you write down. Now, I learned this biggest mistake when I was about 5 years old. And the reason I have stairs up on the screen for you is because I had some school homework when I was in primary school. I had to draw stairs. And I was a little bit stubborn as a child. I wanted to show that I could figure it out on my own without looking at stairs, and that I could just draw freehand without looking at anything at all. And of course, I completely failed. And I failed to the point where I got upset and I started stamping the floor. And I think I jumped under the table and was yelling and screaming, and I was all upset. And the reason I was so upset was because my mom wanted to show me a picture of stairs so that I could have a look at it and see if I could copy it a little bit to make it a lot easier for me. Now, the biggest mistake that a lot of people make is that they want to complicate things and find out how to do everything on their own, rather than first learning the basics in order to be able to understand how to do something and how everything fits together and how everything works. And then once you've done that, then you can start creating on your own. So first of all, you want to understand as much as possible. You want to be able to learn from examples, surround yourself with people that know what they are doing, who are doing well, and then using that to be able to potentially start moving forward. So that is mistake number one. And I just like this little video, so we're just going to quickly show you this one as well, because we added that one in, and you want to make sure that you are climbing the stairs to success, not the other way around. Okay, and biggest mistake number two, again, if you are taking notes, this is where you want to be taking notes, is that some people believe that in Forex or any other kind of investment, really, that you need to be successful every single time. And really, you don't need to do that. You want to make sure that you are successful more times than you are wrong, but it's okay to be wrong from time to time. So in business, they often talk about the fact that if you are correct just 51% of the time, then you are going to be successful. If you want to be correct all the time, you're more likely to fail. In Forex, it's the same thing. So some of your trades are not going to be successful, and that's okay. It's impossible for anybody to be able to predict exactly what's going to happen every single time. And so for that reason, there are going to be trades that are going to be against you. But you just want to make sure that at the end of every day, or at the end of every week, or at the end of every month, that you have more trades that are successful than are unsuccessful. So some people, and I'm going to give you a little bit more of a glimpse of how Forex works. So when you are buying or selling your Forex, buying meaning that you're expecting the market to go up, whereby you profit when it goes up, and selling when you are expecting the market to go down and you make profit when the price goes down. When you are buying or selling, you can do one of two things. You can place a take profit where it will automatically trigger and you will make a profit. And you can set a stop loss whereby you are going to lose some money, but it will be capped at a certain level so that you don't keep losing and losing and losing if the price keeps going down and down and down, or up and up and up against you. So if you set a take profit, some people will set a larger take profit than the stop loss, so that every time you hit the take profit, you might be making 1.5 times as much as you are losing. And if that's the case, then as long as you have a few more winners than losers, you will be making more money at the end of the day than if you have them both at the same level and you have 50-50. So you want to make sure that lesson number 2, the biggest mistake that you don't want to be making, is expecting to win every single time. So on the to-do list, win, win again, win more, but not every single trade. At the end of the day, you want to win. At the end of the week, you want to win again. At the end of the month, you want to win more. But you are going to have losers in between, and it's okay to do that. And the psychology of feeling bad about having losers is something that you need to be able to let go of. Okay, so we have only just really brushed the edges of how Forex works. And you could spend an entire lifetime and still not really understand everything. And you can do everything manually. But as you know, and some of you may have heard of something called ChatGPT. Now, based on that, there are methods of doing things a little bit easier. Can I just see a show of hands, or you can type in the chat, how many of you have used ChatGPT in, say, the last 2-3 months? So if you've used ChatGPT, please give me a yes. If you haven't, then you can say that you haven't. I know that Mary Lou and Ethel definitely have, because I'm getting you to use it for me all the time. So Gary has, Vincent says that he does. Ethel, Giovanni, yes. Everybody, yes. Wow, Joseph, Rashid hasn't. Okay. So no planning to avoid it, says Mladen. Okay, that's also fine. However, I know that I have used it and that certain technologies are going to be able to make our life a little bit easier. So very quick example, if I was to, if I had to write a letter, it would probably take me about 5 minutes to be able to write a letter. Now, I was going to do a demonstration, but most of you have actually used ChatGPT. So you will know that if I needed to write a letter, it would probably take me 5 minutes. If I got ChatGPT to write the same letter, I could write something in 20 seconds probably in order to preempt what I want in the letter. And then ChatGPT would be able to write it in about 30 seconds, whereby I've saved myself 4 minutes, and ChatGPT will have written just as much as I would probably have written in about 5 minutes. And I'm going to be editing and changing and thinking about it. So we can use that technology to our advantage. Now, I don't know very much about contracts. Well, I do, but I am not a lawyer, so I'm not really able to write a contract. I have put together contracts in the past, but I've had to go to a template and then change the template, and it takes me a long time. And I am certain that when I'm putting together a contract, that my contract isn't watertight. But I can go to ChatGPT and I can ask ChatGPT to write a contract for me, and it will write a 2 or 3 page contract that follows the laws of the country, the state, the jurisdiction that I'm in. And it can do it perfectly with a contract that is going to be practically watertight because it has a million different examples that it can use. And it has become a lot better, a lot smarter, and a lot faster than a human at something that the human isn't necessarily specialized in. ChatGPT is also really amazing for diagnosing people's illnesses. So some doctors are saying that ChatGPT is actually better at diagnosing illness than a human, because humans tend to make errors and there are challenges and problems associated with that. So we are able to do the same thing with our investing as well. And Gary says, and it would be more succinct. Absolutely. So I am famous for writing letters and contracts and different things that are a little bit too long. And ChatGPT knows exactly what to take out and what to leave and how to put things in a way. Sometimes it's not perfect, but it definitely is a tool that can be used to our advantage. So on that note, with regards to investing, and especially with Forex, we can do the same kind of things. So once we understand Forex a little bit more, and we've delved into how it works and the psychology of it, once we start to see that we can create a strategy that works manually, we can then start to turn it into an algorithm. And I want to quickly go through the advantages of using somebody else's algorithm, as opposed to what a lot of people do, what probably 95% of traders do, which is sit in front of a computer, trading all day long, watching charts, thinking about it. And I don't want to say anything wrong about that, but I definitely believe that there are better ways of doing it. So let's quickly have a look at some of the advantages of using the algorithm as opposed to doing it manually. Let me just move you all down a little bit. There we go, so I can see my own text. Oops, and I moved you a little bit too far. There we go. So when you're using an algorithm, you don't have to look at the market all day, every day. Because like we said on day one, we're aiming for passive income. Otherwise, you are definitely in the wrong room. So put your hand up or say a yes in the chat if you are more for passive income than you are for spending a lot of time working hard and maybe making a little bit more than you are in your current job or whatever it is that you are doing right now. But spending the same amount of time and still not being able to have quality time with your family or being able to travel or doing all of those amazing things that you always dream of. So I can see Gary definitely agrees with that. Is there anybody else that also would prefer? Vincent, yes, definitely. And Joseph definitely also prefers to be working smarter, not harder. So hopefully that is all of you. And I can see that Ethel and Mladen also prefer passive, which is really amazing. So an algorithm is going to allow you to not have to look at the market constantly. And one thing that I definitely don't like so much is looking at a computer screen all day, every day. I avoid that as much as possible where I can. And Rashid also said, definitely passive income smartly, and Mary Lou also agrees. So that's one of the reasons. Another is that after about 2 hours worth of trading, most traders are going to start burning out, notwithstanding 6 hours a day. Some people do their best to trade 8 hours a day, but an algorithm is going to be able to trade the whole time without making mistakes, because when you start burning out, when you start getting tired, and Mary Lou, you might be able to confirm this. So yesterday you were trading, and I think at the end of the day, there was a small mistake that came in, which luckily it was on the demo account, so it's all good. But we were testing a new strategy. We were testing it manually, first of all. And yes, a little mistake crept in, and it was probably, let me know if you agree or not, based on the fact that you were probably getting tired at the end of the day, because I think you'd been doing it for about 6 hours, maybe 7 hours or 8 hours by that stage. And Mary Lou says, yep. So you want to make sure that you are using technology where you can in order to be able to avoid some of these challenges. 7 hours, says Mary Lou. So the algorithm can trade not just without making as many mistakes, but it can even do it while you're asleep. The market is still open while you're asleep. And if you are trading manually, you can maybe get 6 hours a day of trading in, and you might have to constantly be checking, and you might have to wait for news to come out, or you're waiting for a particular pattern to come out, and you could be waiting all day and it might never happen that day. So you want to be able to use the absolute maximum advantage of technology that you can. So there's an example that I've put at the bottom. So if you were trading 6 hours a day and you were earning $20 per hour, can somebody calculate and type into the chat for me how much that would be? Oh, everybody's gone quiet, or everybody's afraid of mathematics, maybe. I can see that I definitely still have my internet on. Ooh. Oh, okay. So I'll just do it manually. But if we are doing 20 hours per day times 6 hours, then obviously that is going to be $120 that we make by the end of the day. And I think people have started typing it in. People have started calculating it. So iPhone 120, Mary Lou says 120. Now, compare that to using an algorithm, which can then trade while you are also asleep. Let's say that you are now able to make the same $20 per hour. Thank you, Vincent, as well for your answer. So you're making the same $20, but instead of doing it for only 6 hours, because that's the maximum amount of time that you can concentrate on this without making mistakes. Because if you're making mistakes, you might drop down to only $5 per hour because of one big mistake that wipes out a lot of the profits that you would have made. So imagine if now you're doing $20 per hour without mistakes, but you're doing it for 23 hours per day, because the market's technically open 23 hours, not 24 hours a day. So how much would we be making? And Vincent's very quick to answer that one, 460, which means that we are making, let's have a look. So that's $340 more than we were previously, just by using an algorithm rather than doing it manually. So does anybody see that as a huge advantage to doing it manually? And is anybody starting to think about maybe doing things a little bit differently to how they have been doing it, if you have been trading, or thinking about, I am definitely only going to start doing algorithm trading when I get started, rather than going down the path too much? So you probably still need to do a little bit of manual trading to start off with. But hopefully you're starting to see the advantages of being able to do it differently to 95% of everybody else. Okay, did I have another advantage? So I think I already mentioned, and yes. So as a human, it's possible not only to make mistakes, like I already mentioned, but also to not be fast enough. So there are moments when you are trading Forex when the market will suddenly move. So sometimes it moves very slowly, like you saw when we were just watching TradingView before and we were looking at gold. Sometimes it moves very, very slowly. And so when you are expecting the market to suddenly rise, you have plenty of time to push all the buttons and make the trade. Sometimes, however, it suddenly shoots up and it might go in the wrong direction. It might go in the wrong direction, but you're just not fast enough to be able to hit buy, that you're actually buying it at the price that you want to buy it. And again, the advantage of a machine, the advantage of a computer is that it can buy it within milliseconds. If we have to type everything in, it could take us 5 to 10 seconds to type everything in. And that doesn't sound like a lot, obviously, but it can make the difference between hundreds of dollars of profit, or it could mean a loss as opposed to a profit. So another thing that makes it advantageous to look at using technology to help us rather than doing it just ourselves, even though very often our ego will tell us that we should do things on our own, but that is something that we can avoid if we can set our ego aside a little bit. And the other advantage is that manually we would have to sit and watch and wait for opportunity that might conflict with your plans. So if you made plans to meet with a friend, or if you made plans to go swimming, that might be the exact moment when the market suddenly does what you've been waiting for, or when it does what you are hoping that it will do. And that would mean that you are not going to be able to meet with your friends, which means that it makes it almost impossible for you to be able to plan outings, excursions, and catch-ups with friends. So a lot of people that I know that are trading manually, they are just not able to make plans throughout the day because they are just sitting there and waiting for something that they think will happen, but might not happen. And then they put off going to the pool, or they put off meeting a friend, or they put off all of these different things because they're just waiting for the market to do something. And it might not even happen. So they put off this time of their enjoyment, and they are waiting, and they're waiting for nothing, because that thing that they thought they were going to profit with never eventuates. So that's another reason why it is so good to have a look at how technology can help you. And Gary says, why wouldn't you just put take profit and stop loss positions? You absolutely can. But what happens, so we're going to get a little bit more advanced for some of the newbies, but there are strategies where you can put a trailing or a following take profit, or a trailing or a following stop loss, whereby, yes, you can set that, but you might want to change your settings. So if you put a take profit, you are capped on that. If the price keeps rising, you might want to actually change your take profit, whereby you can make more money. If you just set it manually and then walk away, things might change, and you might actually want to flip them around, or you might want to do something else. So again, an algorithm can help you to do that if it recognizes a pattern that allows you to do that. But again, that's a little bit more advanced, but I'm sure that you understand what I mean, Gary. But thank you for your input. I love that. Okay. So what I would like to do is I would like to suggest, and Gary says, if I get 2 to 1 profit, I am still ahead. Absolutely. But we want to see if we can do even better than that. And we might want to see whether we can turn that to 1 profit into, or to the potential loss into a potential profit. And that is also possible sometimes with algorithm trading, rather than doing it manually and walking away with a take profit or stop loss, because it could still hit your stop loss, but the computer might be able to actually turn that around for you, and you still end up with a profit, even though you thought you were going to end up with a loss. But as I said, I don't want to go too deep into that just yet. We can have a chat about that, Gary, at some point further down the track. We'll give you some details on how to set up a session with me if you'd like to have a chat, if you want to go a little bit deeper into that one. But for just the basics, it is a great advantage to be able to use an algorithm to trade rather than doing it manually. Still possible, but I just want to share the amazing world of algorithm trading that I have discovered and want to share with you as well. Okay, so what I would like to do is tomorrow I would like to have a play with you. And that might have come out wrong, I'm not sure. But what I would like to do is be able to do some trading with you. And we've put together a video on how to set up a demo account. You can also set up your own if you want, but if you want to play along, it's probably easier if we're using the same one. So we will share this video and it will show you how you are able to set up a demo account, and we will be using this one tomorrow in our session. So please take the copy from the chat. My VAs will put that into the chat for you so that you are able to watch that video, and you won't be at a disadvantage if you haven't, but the greatest advantage lies in taking opportunities and doing some homework in order to be able to play around with it tomorrow and actually see things in action rather than just watching. I was watching a quick article today, and it was talking about the fact that a lot of children are now learning to swim by watching how to swim for the first 2 lessons. They don't get wet during the first 2 lessons. And I think one of the best ways to learn to swim is to get wet on day 1, to be immersed in it, to be able to do something. And it doesn't just apply to swimming, it applies to everything. I've learned many languages in my life, and I've always learned it by immersing myself in it, going deeply into it. And it's the same thing with Forex. I've gone very deep into it. I've immersed myself immediately. I've made mistakes. I've learned things. I want to share some of the mistakes that I made and how to avoid them with you so that you can avoid some of those mistakes. But I was happy to make those mistakes on your behalf in order to be able to get you a great result. So please do watch that video tonight. And Rashad says, I think everybody knows how to open an account on demo account. Probably they do. Anybody that doesn't, the video is there for you. If you want to just set up the account, that is completely fine if you don't need the video. But I would like to go through that with you tomorrow. And yes, we will do some exercises around that. So I am looking forward to that. Please have a look at the video if you need to, and otherwise feel free to open a demo account. Please do make sure that it's a demo account and not a real account, because we don't want anything to happen to your funds. This is just a place where we're going to be practicing for now, and we are not going to look at any specific strategies just yet. So we are just going to show you some very, very basics. So it might go up, it might go down, we will see, and that is completely fine. And then later on, we'll go into a little bit more depth to see if we can show you how to get better results. So that is, and I think I'm actually ahead of time, which is very unusual for me. I think the last time that we did this section, I think I went over by about 20, 30 minutes. So we are on a schedule for today's session. So before we finish up, does anybody have any questions? And I see that there's already a question there. Vincent says, thank you for the video. Yes, some of you might need the video. That's completely fine. Others maybe not. That's also fine. So Mary Lou has added the link if you'd like to book a call. Rashad asked if I have any preferred brokers. So I definitely like 8cap, and I have been using ETO brokers. But yes, I definitely don't want to be advising anybody, and I'm definitely not advising you, but those are some of the brokers that I have used in the past. And as I said, we can definitely have a chat about more specifics if you want to book a call. There's also the links to our socials, so the Facebook and the Instagram, and the girls will be sharing the others as well. So we're going to be sharing more great content there. There is the Cashflow Action Club that we also post in, and we'll be doing some more things there very soon. There is the Cashflow Club that we run as well, and we have been starting to set up more events for that one, as well as some online events that you can join so that you don't necessarily have to travel for that one. So all very, very exciting. And then I think we've also got the LinkedIn. And Vincent, great to see that you're excited to learn more. It's a pleasure having all of you. Does anybody else have any questions before we finish up? I might be able to give you a slight early mark, and I would definitely advise you to take that if you can, because I am usually running over as opposed to finishing a little bit earlier. I'm happy to answer any questions. If you'd like to book a call, email us at this email address on the page, and you can then set up a set up a call with me if you'd like to discuss anything further. We'll be talking about some opportunities towards the end of the week as well. But every day we're going to be sharing some really amazing ideas and strategies and tips on how to improve what you are doing, or it's going to help you to get started. And I think the calendar still needs to be updated, so we are working on that one. So reach out to Ethel or Mary Lou by email, and they will start to send you some of the calendar dates as we put them into the system. So yes, my time is usually quite busy. A lot of people who know me will probably know, I think a couple of people online have seen that before, that I get quite busy from time to time, but I'm happy to always put time in the calendar to open up time to speak to everybody. So does anybody else have any other questions? And we'll definitely make sure that there are times available for you to be able to book in. So don't worry about that. And if you send an email to that email, then we will be able to set a booking time for you and stay in touch with you. And iPhone asked, I'm not sure what your name is, by the way. I wish I knew your name so I could call you by name. When we will learn how to trade without using your own money. Sorry?
That's Giovanni Meno.
Giovanni, yes. Oh, I thought you had a number before. So Giovanni, you will learn how to trade without using your own money. I think it's tomorrow or the day after. So we will be getting to that very, very soon. We're taking it step by step so that we are walking to our goal rather than running too fast. We want to make sure that nobody gets lost and that we don't go too fast. But you will absolutely be learning how to trade without using your own money. And that is my favorite day of all, because that is a strategy that not many people know about. And it is something that can revolutionize your life, because you do not need to have that much money yourself, and you can trade on a much larger scale than you otherwise would. So we'll be talking about how that works, what it is, and how you can apply for that one as well. And yes, I'm very excited, as are you, I can see. And I'm, yes, going to talk about that in the next few days. Did anybody else have any other questions or anything else you'd like to share? Would anybody like to share what your biggest takeaway from today was? I think everybody's just awestruck. I loved everybody's reactions. I saw a lot of people very surprised, very excited, and I love being able to see people
Hello.
learn some new things.
I would like to share that
Yes,
I've learned
that's
that
Vincent,
not
I think,
to rush
yes?
things. No.
Not to rush things?
Yeah. Step by step, slowly.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, very important. I used to rush a little bit when I was younger, and it's important to make sure that you don't do that for sure. And Rashid, I'll have a talk to you because I think you already asked, and I shared a couple, but I can talk to you a little bit more about brokers. And thank you, Vincent, for sharing your learnings for today. And Gary says, make sure the broker is registered. Absolutely. So you want to make sure that the broker that you use is going to be a good one. So I appreciate you sharing that. I am hoping that you haven't learned that from experience, from a bad experience in that sense. But unfortunately, yes, some people have the bad experience in order to learn that. But we will make sure that we share some of the brokers that we have used over time in order to make sure that you are able to access one that is registered and is good. Okay, so unless I see another question come through, or if anybody else would like to share your biggest takeaway, and you can type it, you can also say it out loud if you like, unless anybody else has anything else they'd like to share. And somebody hearted that one for you, Gary. I think Ethel hearted that one for you. So she obviously likes that one. Then we will start to wrap up. I want to say thank you so much for joining again today. So today has been really exciting. So we've spoken about Forex, why Forex can be a great investment. Today we've had a look at some of the biggest mistakes and some of the ways in which you can start doing things a little bit differently to create massive change in the results that you get. One of my favorite takeaways from today is the fact that you can trade for 6 hours at $20 per hour, and you might drop it down to $5 per hour if you accidentally make a mistake because you're getting square eyes, getting tired, and not focused, and maybe losing concentration a little bit after that amount of time of staring at the screen, hoping, praying that the market will go in the right direction. Or using an algorithm and potentially being able to make $20 per hour for 23 hours per day, which comes to 460 as opposed to 120. So that is day 2. Thank you so much for joining. Feel free to book a call. And thank you, Mary Lou, as well, who's just said thank you. Thank you to everyone. And I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. We will be sharing more great tips, ideas, and strategies, more great learnings tomorrow as well. And very soon we will be talking about the big thing that we are going to be telling you about, the main theme of everything, increasing the need for financial speed, creating more speed for you, but also being able to trade using other people's money in order to be able to get a great return. So I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you again so much for joining, and enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Manu.
Thank you.
If you can, sorry. Hello?
That's okay. Who? Yes. Is that you, Rashid?
Yes. If you can, please type in the email address we need to send email for the
yes
to be.
Mary Lou, Ethel, would you be able to type that one in for us? Or I think they've already gone. Let me type that one in for you then. Let me just quickly open up the Zoom one more time. So can you see it on the screen? Am I sharing the screen? I don't think so. Oops. Let me share the screen for you. Here we go. So that is this one here. So Menno at secretinvestmentsyndicate.com. I'll see if I can type that one in for you. Give me a second. So it is, thank you, Joseph, as well, by the way. Menno at syndicate.com. And I'll just send that through to you.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a great night. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
You too. Good night.
Thank you.